Hi everyone, Ms. Kilroy here. Today we're going to be taking notes about the metric system. Before I get into the notes today, I want to remind you where you can find some key information. So I'm on our homepage in Neo, our class. I'm going to go to resources, and then if you click on class notes, you'll see that all of the notes and the PowerPoints that I have for the week are all in one spot. So this week we're week 4, and we're going to be learning about metrics. So if I'm ever going too fast, you have the notes right here, and you can also pause the video and get time to write. I do want you to open up your Notability app, make it so there's 2 screens so that you can listen to me talk while you take notes on your own. I want you to have what I have written down, I want you to write it down as well, all right? When we write, we help process the information and we learn. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start our notes. We're going to start with converting between units. So the units we're going to use are the SI unit system, so International System of Units. And the purpose of that is we want one way to take measurements, and we're going to be using the metric system. So the metric system is based on the meters as a unit of length, the grams as a unit of mass, and liters as liquid volume. So we're going to be using that. We are not going to be using feet, miles, inches, gallons in science class. It's always going to be the metric system. So what is the metric system? I like the metric system because it is based on units of 10, and it's very consistent, and it's much easier to learn and memorize. Go ahead and write this down as I talk. So 1 kilometer, or km, is equal to 1,000 meters. So kilometer is in a way similar to a mile. It's very long. It's 1,000 meters. So you saw a meter stick in class. It's 1,000 of them. Now if you look at 1 meter, it consists of 100 centimeters. And centi means 100, like a century. 1 centimeter is made up of 10 millimeters. So let's remember, kilo means 1,000, centi means 100, so 1/100th, and milli means 1/1000th. So a kilometer is about the length of 4 city blocks, just to give you an idea of how long that is. We talked about a meter stick, so 1,000 meter sticks are 1 kilometer. And in a meter stick, there are 100 centimeters. Centimeters are kind of the bigger ones here, from 0 to 1. That's 1 centimeter. And then all these little guys here, those are millimeters. And there are 1,000 milliliters on a meter stick. And if you count, there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So what's nice about the metric system is no matter what the unit is, if it's meters, liters, or grams, it's still the same conversion. So if we have 1 kiloliter, it's 1,000 liters. So if we look back, kilometer, 1,000 meters, same thing. 1 liter is 100 centiliters. I spelled that wrong, but sorry about that. 1 centiliter is equal to 10 milliliters. In our class, we're going to be using the graduated cylinder, and it's measured in milliliters, so we'll be most familiar with that. Same thing goes for measuring mass. 1 kilogram, 1,000, is 1,000 grams. 1 gram is 100 centigrams. Centigram, 10 milligrams. So now I want to talk about rounding. When rounding to the nearest tenth, look at the neighbor number to tell you what to do. If that neighbor is 5 or more, the number rounds up. If the number is 4 or less, it stays the same. Please write down these examples. So we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So when we're rounding to the 10th, that number is right here. Okay, so that means we need to look at the neighbor next door. So we're going to look at 7. So if we're looking around to the 10th, that's one place after the decimal, we see that this number is a 7. We're going to ignore the 8. So 7 is bigger than 5, so that's going to make the 1 turn to a 2. So our final answer is 12.2. Okay, if we have this number and we're rounding to the nearest 10th, we're going to look at the number right after the decimal, and we're looking at its neighbor. Round to the 10th, look at the neighbor. That's a 4 or less, so it's going to stay the same. So it's going to be, the final answer will be 61.4. Please write down these examples and make sure you know that we're rounding to the 10th. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can pause it at any time. Now we're going to talk about rounding to the nearest 100th. The same rules apply, so you don't need to write this again. You do need to write the examples. So we're looking at the same numbers, but this time we're looking at the 100th spot, and that is that second place after the decimal right here. So if we're looking at the 7 round to the 100th, we're going to look at its neighbor, 8. Okay, rounding to the 100th, look at its neighbor. The neighbor is bigger than 5, so it's going to make the 7 round up. So our final answer will be 12.18. Let's look at the 4. We're going to round to the nearest 100th. We look at its neighbor. It's 4 or less, so it's going to stay the same. So it'll be 61.44. Make sure you write these down. Tools. There are 3 tools we're going to be using in science class. We've got the graduated cylinder. It's used to measure liquid volume, and it's measured in liters. Please write this down and either add in a picture from the internet of a graduated cylinder or draw one. The meter stick is used to measure length and is measured in meters. So how long something is, how tall something is, we're going to use a meter stick. Triple beam balance is used to measure mass and is measured in grams. Make sure you write all of this down and either draw or get a picture from the internet. Putting it all together, okay, let's copy down this chart. So if our measurement is liquid volume, the unit is liters, and we're going to use a graduated cylinder. For measuring how long something is, the unit is meters, and we use a meter stick. For measuring mass, it's going to be measured in grams, and we're going to use a triple beam balance. Copy this down. And that's all of our notes for metrics. I wanted to show you what our homework is. I'm going to go to Google Classroom, and you'll see metrics. Homework is going to be your classwork and homework. So once you're done writing down those notes, I want you to complete this worksheet. I want you to use the ruler and meter stick to measure these items: the length of an iPad, the length of your pencil or stylus, the height of the chair, the height of the desk, and your height. Once you have your height, you're going to have a friend help you. You can go to the meter sticks around the classroom, measure your height, write that down in meters. And then I want you to go back to our Google Classroom, and you guys are going to fill out the form, how tall are you? So this way we're going to record everyone's height in meters, and that will lead you to the next question for your homework. Then you'll see the spreadsheet, and I want you to write down 5 boys' heights and 5 girl heights. You'll need to calculate the average and range for boys' and girls' height in our class, and then you'll need to make a graph. Reminder, how to make a graph. I want you to click the link. You're going to make a bar graph. That's all set. We're going to click data. The graph title, please come up with a title that describes the graph. You'll need an X and Y axis. The X axis is this way. can see my mouse going horizontal. So that's going to be the group, so probably boys and girls or class. And then your y-axis is going to be the height in meters. You do not need the source for the data set. Change that to 1 for items, and the groups are going to be 2 because we're going to have boys and girls. You can change the colors. The item label is going to be their height, average height. Put in the average height for the boys and girls, and do not fill in minimum and maximum. Don't do anything with labels. You can preview it and then print and save. You click download. You change the PDF to JPG. Download. Your graph will pop up. You tap it, and I want you to save the image, right? And it'll save to your photos. You'll then insert the graph by inserting a photo. So insert image, and you'll click here to go find that photo that you just saved. Once you're done with the graph, you have to complete the rest for homework. All right, good luck.